If you want to understand yourself better by doodling, this video is for you. Hello and welcome back. My name is Chada. In this channel, it's all about understanding yourself better and figuring out what works best for you. In today's video, I got something really cool to share with you. It's called art psychology. And basically, it's using drawings or paintings or sculptures to basically art to understand yourself better and your own psychology. Before we get into the actual exercise, there are a few things that I would like to mention. First of all, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. So if you have it with you right now, amazing. If not, pause the video, go get it, and then come back. Second, it's really important that you do the exercise alongside the video and not just watch the whole video without doing the exercise. The reason for that is because while doing the exercise, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And after that, I'm going to explain you what you just did and what it means. So if you already watched the end of the video with the explanation, you're basically going to be biased on how you're going to draw. So it's very important that you do this exercise without knowing what it even means. All right, next I will be telling you what you're going to draw. So I'm going to tell you, please draw this. And without overthinking it, the first image that comes to your mind, you're going to draw it. And that's it. If necessary, do pause the video, but don't make it longer than 10-15 seconds. It should be very intuitive, just like the first image that you get, you're going to draw, and that's it. The first thing that I want you to draw is a sun. That's it. Don't overthink it. The first image that came to your mind when I said sun, you're going to draw, and that's it. So pause the video if you need to and come back once you're done. The second thing that I want you to draw is a house. Now again, don't overthink it. The first image that you had about a house, you're going to draw that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just simply draw a house however you saw it in your mind. So pause the video if you need to and come back once you're done. The third thing that I want you to draw is a tree. Again, don't overthink it. The first image that you had in your mind, just draw a tree and pause the video if you need to and come back once you're done. The next thing that I want you to draw is a river. As usual, don't overthink it. Just draw a river. However, whatever image came to you first, draw the river, pause the video if you need to, and come back once you're done. The last thing that I want you to draw is a snake. Again, don't overthink it, just draw a snake, pause the video if you need to, and press play once you're done. So if you've watched this far, amazing. I'm excited that you're still here. If you're looking at your picture and you're like, oh my goodness, this looks horrible, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter how beautiful it's drawn. It's about the characteristics that each of these symbols has inside of it. And now I'm going to explain to you what each of those mean. First, we had the sun. The sun represents your father, the influence your father had in your life, and the kind of relationship that you had towards your father. So, for example, if your son is like very small, it can be an indication that your father wasn't a big influence in your life compared if you've drawn the sun very big, or did you like draw it in the center of the picture, or is it more to the side up in a corner? This also is an indication of what kind of influence your father had in your life. Like, was it a centerpiece or was it more something to the side? Then the next thing that it says, depending on how you've drawn the sun, it can indicate what kind of relationship you had with your father. For example, if you've drawn a smiley face inside the sun, then it can be like, okay, you had a very friendly father, or you had a really good relationship with your father. Or I don't know, if you've drawn some sunglasses on the sun, it can be an indication that your father was really cool, or this is how you perceived your father. So this is the symbol of the sun. It's basically the relationship that you had with your father and what role your father played inside of your life. Next, we have the house. The house represents your own personality. And basically, it's an indication of how open you are and how easily you connect to others. For example, if you have a lot of windows, it's kind of an indication that you easily share what's going inside of you. So you're not very private about your own life. On the other hand, if, for example, you have no windows at all, it's like you are very, very private and you don't share anything about your own life. Another thing could be if you have like a door, it's about how easily do you let people in? Is there even a door or not? Maybe you didn't even draw one. And a next thing is the path. If you've drawn a path away or towards the house, it's an indication of like how much time does it take for you to let people in? Like, is your path very narrow and very long? It can be an indication that you take your time before you trust people, before you let people into your heart, kind of way. And the other goes the same way. Like if you have a very short path, it's it's an indication of you easily opening up to people and let them into your life. Now, one thing that I want to say is one is not better than the other. It's just a characteristic that you might have. So this is the explanation of the house. Next, we have the tree. The tree represents how family oriented you are. So if you have like a very big tree, a very large tree with a large trunk, it's an indication that you are very family oriented and that family plays a huge role in your life. On the opposite, if you have like a very slender tree, it's an indication that family isn't a big thing for you. Now, it doesn't mean that you are necessarily alone. It's just not your focus of life, or it might not be. Then another thing to look out for is the tree represents two things. It's about your given family and your chosen family. So depending on where the tree is placed inside the picture, it's an indication of how close you are to your given family. So if the tree is far away from your house, it's an indication that you are close to your chosen family than to your given family. Now that doesn't mean that it can be that you might not even have a connection to your given family anymore, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be that when you think of family, you more think of your chosen family, meaning your friends, your spouse, and so on, than of your given family, your parents, your cousins, and so on. On the other side, if your tree is very close to your house, it's an indication that you are very closely connected to your given family. So this is what the tree represents. Next, we have the river. The river represents the mother. So again, it depends on the characteristic of the river. Is it a big, large river, or is it a very narrow, small river? So this again represents on what influence did your mother have? Is the river like across the page, or is it somewhere on the side? Which is an indication on what influence your mother had in your life. Then another thing to look out for is, did you draw streams or did you draw rocks or something like that inside the river? If so, this can be an indication that the relationship with your mom might have been a little difficult, a little rocky, and a little bit challenging, basically. Another thing to look out for in the river is if you've drawn any animals like ducks or fish or something like that. And that basically represents other family members like cousins or siblings or something like that. So if you've drawn, for example, two fish, that this might be an indication that you have two siblings or something like that, or two cousins that you might feel close to, or basically it's an indication of your family members. So this is what the river means. And last we had the snake. So the snake basically represents your sexuality. And what to look out for in this case is, how big is the snake compared to your house? Like, is the snake bigger than your house, or is it very small compared to your house, or is it normal in proportion? So what it says is, how high is your sexual drive? So the bigger the snake is compared to the house, the bigger is your sexual drive. Another thing to look out for when it comes to the snake is it like, did you draw it like rolled out, or was it a coiled snake? If it's a coiled snake, it's basically an indication for always ready. So this is what the snake means. Now, before we end the video, there's something more that I would like to mention. But before that, if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. do comment down below and do subscribe to the channel. So one very important thing that I want to mention before we end the video is don't overthink it. This was just like a funny little intro into the art of psychology. It's meant to entertain you. It's meant to give you an idea what this is about. So if not everything was 100% accurate, don't overthink it. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Take care.